Would it be a mistake to pass on the first 5-10 quarterback in the history that potentially can be a starter or be a first-round pick? No, I don't think it's a mistake because the one thing Nick pointed out, when you're talking about you are the first of to do something, and why did he ascend up the charts so fast anyway? To me, this is normal NFL draft stuff because when a guy finishes his college career, they don't have all the intel. But immediately it was like, because they have Kingsbury and because Kyler, that they met on a recruiting visit, that these two are definitely going to be together in Arizona. And then they pulled up the footage of Kingsbury, what he was talking about if he was in the NFL. And at that point, he wasn't thinking about being in the NFL. He was a college coach, only thinking about that. And if he said if he had the #1 pick, he said that he would select Kyler just because he knew him just a little bit. That to me is just a coach trying to look after a kid who they pass like ships in the night. They don't really have a relationship, but Cliff, it was an opportunity for him to say something good about a kid that people at that time thought was going to play baseball. So I wouldn't say it's a mistake to pass up on him because of his size.
Listen, I think that they should shop the pick, trade the pick, stick with Rosen. So no, I don't think it'd be a mistake. I also think this report's nonsense. I also think they are going to take him. I think that there's last year, very similar situation. Seemingly out of nowhere, Baker became the overwhelming favorite. All signs were pointing to that Cleveland was going to take Baker. And then about a week before the draft, there was a report that Cleveland is not interested in Baker Mayfield, that Cleveland liked Sam Darnold more around the time Sam Darnold sat on this set with us. This would be such a pump fake on Kyler. And keep in mind, Kyler's agent is the same person that is Cliff Kingsbury's agent. Keep in mind how many things the Cardinals have done seemingly for this specific scenario. Cliff Kingsbury was not the best candidate available for a head coach unless you thought you were going to take a quarterback that fit his specific skill set as a coach, and that's what you're going to do moving forward. They could have gotten Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, not as their head coach. Right? Like when he gets fired from Texas Tech, the best job he thought USC offensive coordinator. So no, I don't think it would be a mistake, but I also don't think they're going to do it. I think this is, if anything, an attempt to juice up the trade market for Josh Rosen before the draft, because once the draft starts, if you take Kyler Murray #1, the whole world knows you are moving on from Josh Rosen, and everybody's offer lessens at least a bit, at least in my eyes.
I feel like there are much better, more productive ways to juice up Josh Rosen's stock in the draft than to let him think for the last couple of weeks that they're going to go ahead and take a quarterback, that we're moving on from him. With all these teams in the draft, and I'm sort of learning it more having worked around UCC and learning from you also, Nick, usually these teams have an ulterior motive when they throw something out there. Like when the Giants talked about how they may not draft a quarterback at all. Maybe let it go so that they'll be one available at #6. But what could it be for the Cardinals?
Well, for one, it doesn't make sense for them to make any type of indication they're going to select Kyler, or it doesn't make sense either for them to say anything derogatory about Josh Rosen. So this whole thing has been a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and that's what the draft is about. Arizona has shown interest in Kyler. The people in the NFL world, that's why all these mock drafts have him #1. It's not because they have nothing better to do. Their intel is telling them, because most people that cover the league on a regular basis, it's important that they're right because their credibility is at stake. There's other people on TV writing stuff. They don't care about being right. But people covering the NFL, covering the draft, it becomes important that they're locked into this type of information. So I think Arizona does have a genuine interest in Kyler because I believe that Kingsbury promised the owner the same exciting type football that he coached in college, and he can't get that accomplished with Josh Rosen.
And when on the right versus wrong thing, there's two different types of predictions people in the media or people covering the league make. One is about something that no one actually knows, meaning who will win this game or how this player will pan out. Everyone is making educated guesses on this. Who a team with the #1 pick is going to select, that is something that could be definitive. You can have that piece of information. So people getting that wrong is very different than picking the Rams over the Patriots, because one is an undetermined outcome. And the other note on Kyler that you mentioned, what are the old motives? Well, who says that any of this information about they're not going with Kyler has anything to do with the Cardinals or Kyler? This could be Nick Bosa's people trying to make it seem like he's so good he could go #1. So if he's there at 2, that the Niners say, oh my God, got to take him at 2, almost went #1. So much of this is just misinformation, as Steve noted, or ulterior motives to try to help someone or something out that you're not putting out there. It is rare there's a Peyton Manning situation where it's everyone knows Andrew Luck definitively. I guess Peyton wasn't even definitive
because of Ryan Leaf.
But where no question whatsoever this guy's going #1 overall. We know it. There's not going to be a trade. Usually 72 hours before the draft, there's a little bit of this. I would be very surprised if they don't take Kyler. I don't think it'd be the wrong move not to take Kyler, but I'd be very surprised if they don't.
It has made for an interesting 2 years of draft lead up. All right, coming up, could the Boston Celtics actually be the best team in the East? That's next on First Things First.